Hi guys, and welcome back to World of Tanks, and today I'm going to be looking at the Javelin Krupp-Steyr Waffentrager, which is a new Tier 7 Premium German TD. And this is the Javelin version. You can put camo on it, as you can see. And what makes this different from the standard Krupp-Steyr Waffentrager, which we are getting at some point, is the addition of spaced armour plates, as you can see over the tracks and around the turret as well. None on the hull, just on the... well, let's say none on the hull, just on the sides over the tracks, and then on the turret as well. And if you go to the tech tree, or the there we go, and have a look for the Krupp-Steyr, it is there, but there is a question mark, but you can actually just view the model, and as you can see, there are no spaced plates on there. And that's the standard one. So as to the price of the standard one, I have no idea what that one's going to be, but with this one, if you are wanting this tank, you might as well get the Javelin version. Just wait for the base pack probably, if you are wanting this, because it does have the additions of the spaced armour. Now, while there is nothing particularly wrong with this tank, I have to say there is nothing particularly right with it either, and it does feel decidedly average, a little bit meh, and probably the best way of describing it is as beige. Again, nothing particularly wrong with it, but nothing particularly right either. And it's kind of like a Tier 7 Borsig, so you only have 20mm of armour, is your thickest armour. The addition of the plates is very, very negligible as to what they will actually do, and essentially all they will do is save you from heat and HE, but only where the plates are. They can still put HE and heat through your very, very thinly armoured hull, front and back, and it will not really give you any protection from standard rounds, you know, armor pierce and APCR. You might get lucky very, very occasionally, and it may possibly eat one. Yeah, but no. It is not, as Wargaming describe it, top-notch protection with welded-on spaced armor, enhancing the defensive qualities. Yeah, defective might be better. Qualities of its turret and hull, or anything to spearhead the assault, which is something else that they said about this. Yeah, do not spearhead anything in this unless the assault is going backwards. So yeah, like I say, Borsig 20mm is your thickest armor. It's got a long 88, and straight off the bat, if you want there's so many other tanks I could recommend over this, and even the long 88. You know, the long 88 is not a bad gun by any means, but this is a decidedly average, in fact in some ways slightly under average, long 88. And if you want a Tier 7 German TD, E25 every time. Just get the E25 over the Javelin. It's faster, it's sneakier. It has higher DPM, even though it's got low damage. It does have a higher DPM. It's got better accuracy, better aim time. It's more fun, and it's got preferential matchmaking. So there you go. And I mean, to be honest, even the hammer and the normal Tiger have a better rate of fire with their long 88s than this does. This has about 8.33. They get about 8. I want to say 8.5 something, but anyway, it's a better rate of fire than this gets. So you know what I mean? You could just think, oh, screw it, I'll just get the hammer, because the hammer's more versatile. Same gun as this, essentially. And it's got more versatility to it because it's got a bit of armour. So that's my point with this. It's not bad, but it's not great. But I just can't recommend it over anything else that's available. And, I mean, even the Tech Tree TDs that you get at Tier 7, I would say are probably better. With the Jagdpanther, you get 320 damage. It's got a bit of armour, and it's quicker. You know, it's got that 105 on it. I would have preferred to see this with something like the 105, or maybe, I don't know about the 128 that the Steyr Emil gets. So the Steyr Emil has, I think, a higher DPM, possibly even slightly. But the thing is, with the Steyr Emil, it's got no armour, it's not particularly quick, but it's got great gun depression and 490 alpha damage. You know, this has 240, so that gives them a big old whack. And I don't know, like I say, I mean, whether this is based on something historical, a blueprint or whatever, you know, let's have a look, what does it say? Oh, a wooden model, the turret and gun was supplied by Krupp. So yeah, based on blueprints, but again, I just think it needs just a tweak to its gun, because at the minute, as I say, the hammer has got a faster rate of fire, the Tiger's got a faster rate of fire. I mean, the Jagdpanther with the long 88 gets 9 9 point something rounds a minute. 9.84 rounds a minute, so more than a round a minute faster than this fires. So at least just give it that little buff to give it the same rate of fire with this long 88 as the Jagdpanther gets with its long 88. I just think that's what it needs. Those two bumps that you can see on the hull there is one for the driver's head, one's for the radio operator's head. They do get in the way of your gun depression, so do bear that in mind. I'm not going to go into the prices on this or anything else. You know, the bundles are what they are. You know, they start off expensive. They do drop down a little bit cheaper, so I'm not really going to go into the prices. You get a 220 horsepower engine, 8.33 rounds a minute on your rate of fire, which, as I said, is under average for this gun, for the long 88, and a little bit lackluster. It really needs something, just a bit of a buff to that, I think, really. Aiming time 1.9 seconds, which is fine, which is why I haven't bothered with the gun lane drive on it. 203 pen, 240 damage, you know, standard long 88. 0.33 accuracy, which is quite nice. There are better accuracies out there. There are worse. Even with this gun, you know, the accuracy does vary from tank to tank. Good hull traverse, though, at 38 degrees a second. But again, negligible as to when that might be useful, considering it is, you know, paper armoured, so it doesn't matter which part of the tank you're pointing at the enemy. They're still going to pen you. And 26 degrees on your turret with a 360 meter view range. So view range again is average. The traverses are quite nice, but again it's kind of negligible on a tank like this, where, you know, if it had good frontal armor and, you know, paper side and rear armor, then a good hull traverse would be incredibly useful, because you can try and keep your armored portion towards the enemy if somebody tries to circle you or gets too close. With something like this, I just, you know, it's alright for driving and maybe manoeuvring, but I just don't really, I don't know why it needs that much of a hull traverse, should I say. I mean, yes, it does mean you can keep your turret if something circles you, but, you know, you could have done that with less. You can do that with the Borsig if you turn your hull and your turret at the same time. So it's just one of those things. The crew, as you can see, I've just stuck a standard crew in. Equipment, this is the press account. So I just picked up the one with the equipment on it, because that's essentially what I'd just stick on this anyway. Your shell prices are again the same. I don't know why I've gone into that one. As they are for just about any other long 88 in the game, as you would imagine. Hull armor, I don't really think I'm going to go into with the looking at the armor profile too much, because, as I said, you know, 20mm is your best, which is your front of your turret, front of your hull. 10 on the sides of both, 8 on the back of the hull, 10 on the back of the turret. Your bonuses, 30% extra silver bonus and a 20% extra XP bonus, which isn't bad. You know, it's quite nice. It's a tier 7, so it sort of sits in between. You know, not quite as high a silver bonus as a tier 8, but a slightly higher XP bonus. Right, so your engine power translates to 13.84 horsepower per ton, which is faster than a Borsig. I know I keep comparing it to that, and that's a tier 8, but it's probably the best comparison I can come up with. So a little bit quicker than that, but it's still no speed demon. Top forward speed of 35 kilometers an hour, which it can reach, so you can move about the battlefield. Just, you know, takes you a little bit to get going, and going uphill is a little bit sluggish. 15 in reverse, but a 20% chance of fire. And you've actually got engine components up in the side of your hull there, and engine components in the front. In fact, your main engine component, or your main engine block, is in the front, sat in between your two crew members. So high chance of fire, but again, it's one of those things. It's kind of like the Borsig. If you get seen and you can't get out of cover, or get into cover, or get out of the way, chances are you're probably going to take some hits, and generally by that point something's gone horribly wrong with the team or with the game, and you're probably going to die anyway. Only 800 hit points, which does kind of seem low, but then again, I do forget that TDs generally have lower hit points than anything else. When I can stop pressing the wrong button, I was just seeing what the E25's got 30 extra hit points. Not a lot, but it can make a difference. What does the Steyr Emil get? 850, so yeah, hit points do seem a little, yeah, 850. So yeah, hit points are lower than average again for sort of German tier 7 TDs. So this is what I mean by, you know, there's nothing particularly wrong with it, but there's nothing particularly good about it either. Very, very high gun elevation for some reason, 45 degrees, which kind of makes me think that this was probably initially intended as some sort of anti-aircraft platform or something, you know, from the initial blueprints. I could be wrong, but generally something with as higher elevation as that is normally sort of aimed at shooting at aircraft. 8 degrees of gun depression, but it is not all over the tank. Don't forget about those bumps on the front, which do become very, very irritating. Tracks were really covered. Turret, I don't really think we need to look at that too much. Radio, well, ammunition, that's what people generally like to shoot at, so that's all at the back of the tank. Shell velocity, again, very standard for a long 88, 1,000 meters for your AP and 1250 for your APCR. And crew members, well, not entirely sure. I did think that was for the radio operator, but it appears that that's for the commander, so yeah, that's your commander's cupola there. So commander and driver down in the front, it looks like, and gunner and loader up in the turret, which is a bit of an unusual setup, but there you go. Concealment is quite nice. Again, not as good as the E25s, but better than a Steyr, better than the Jagdpanther. So, you know, it is quite a stealthy machine. 0.40 stationary, 0.24 on the move. And again, that's kind of why I sort of compared it a little bit to a tier 7 Borsig. So there you go. Yeah, let's get into the gameplay. As I said, nothing particularly wrong with it. Nothing particularly right with it, though, in any way. And just kind of feels a bit meh and beige. But let's get into the gameplay and see how it actually handles. Right, so here we are for the first of the replays. A couple of, again, just average matches for you, really. Just to kind of show you what it can and can't do. That's just, yeah, I'm just testing out the gun depression. This was the first game that I played in it. It's a tier 9 match. And I think both of these are losses, but again, it's not really about the match so much as about showing what the tank is capable of. And again, what is, you know, as I said in the garage, you know, it's just average, and average doesn't mean bad, but it, you know, it just means that there's nothing that particularly stands out as awesome on it. But I do think that just giving it a tweak, just a little tweak to the rate of fire, just to take it up to, is it about 9.52? I think I said for the Jagdpanther with the long 88, and could take this from, you know, being average to being, you know, quite a nice little tier 7 TD. But as it stands at the moment, and again, just reiterating for anybody to skip the garage bit, as it stands at the moment, I could not recommend this over the E25 personally. Even though this does have a turret, the E25 doesn't. I just, as I said, the other stuff on the E25 definitely makes up for not having a turret over this one. And again, I would find it hard, even though the Hammer isn't a TD, I would kind of find it hard to recommend this over the Hammer, to be honest, because, as I said, the Hammer's got the same gun, not quite as good aim time, not quite as good accuracy, but it's not far off. I think it's, I think this is 0.34, I think that's like, 0.33 and that's 0.34, something like that. So, as near as damn it the same gun, but a slightly better rate of fire, and it is more versatile because it does have armour. You know, it's 100mm of armour. You angle a Tiger and you can bounce quite a few shots when you're top tier, if you angle it right. And when you're not top tier, you sit back and use it kind of like a TD or a sniper in a way. So yeah, yeah, there you go. I just think there's, for your money, there's better tanks out there, and some of them will save you a bit of money. Again, if this had that rate of fire boost, then, as I said, it would take it from average to be nice. But again, I don't know. I think I'd probably still maybe recommend the E25, but it's not for everybody. Some people just prefer turreted TDs over the non-turreted. You know, that's it. So, not particularly exciting gameplay wise. I mean, it's a tier 9 match. There's not many places I can go in this. It doesn't have any armour. I did feel sometimes the accuracy did let me down a little bit with the gun handling. I know it's supposed to have good accuracy, but sometimes it did miss a few shots that were sort of fully aimed in, and really, I don't know, you can't help but thinking it kind of shouldn't have missed that. I was kind of surprised to be penning that STI at that sort of range though as well, especially through the front. That did kind of surprise me a little bit. But as you can see, you know, not the most exciting gameplay, but it does give you an idea of it. The spaced armour on the side, don't rely on it. As I said before, it will give you some slight protection against heat and HE, but standard rounds, I think it ate one. And that was from a Black Prince, I think it was, possibly even in the next match, and it was at quite an angle, so I'm not even sure if it was the spaced armour on the side or if it was actually the tracks that ate it because of the angle. I couldn't be sure, but it's definitely not something you want to rely on. It's just the kind of thing that, I don't know, it's almost like treat it as though you haven't got it, but it's nice that it's there, and you know, at some point throughout your tanking career in this tank, it may save you from an HE or heat round, but to be honest, even though really, I suppose you could or should, or it could be argued that you should swap to HE when you come up against thinly armoured tanks like this, most people don't even carry HE, and the ones that do, I mean, I carry HE on a few tanks, but I just forget. You know, when I see something like this, generally when I see it, it's like I need to shoot it now. I don't have time to change my ammo and sort of reload. So it's, I don't know. Again, it could almost be argued, is it even worth putting spaced armour on a tank like this? You know, that's, again, it could be argued either way really on that point. Now, I know I'm spotted, I know I keep getting looked at, but the team it's kind of falling apart, the match has kind of gone to pot. I'm in a position I don't really want to be in. I shouldn't have come down forwards off that cliff, I should have gone backwards. That was a bit of a mistake and a little bit of a panic move. And now I really am in the crap. Yeah, trying to just get into some sort of cover, but then, oh yeah, he comes up behind me and just couldn't quite reload in time to get a shot in. And that's why I ended up switching tanks, because as he killed me, I pressed the trigger. So again, not great. 1700 damage, but again, I'm just trying to show you average games that I had in this, and again, just trying to show you what it's kind of capable of. So I mean, I did still come top, which, you know, with 1700 damage, well, there you go. But yeah, I did still come top, but it was just one of those games where it just kind of fell apart, and it's not, to me, it doesn't seem to be the kind of tank that you can carry a game in. It's, I don't know, it just doesn't. Because if it gets to that point where you're going to have to carry the game, and like, you know, you're the only one left, generally when you fire you get spotted, and when you get spotted at that point you're probably going to end up getting killed. So I don't know, but yeah, that's just how I see it. It doesn't feel like a tank that you can carry a game in. It does kind of feel a bit more dependent. I mean, even the Borsig, which, you know, has kind of the same armour as this, feels a little bit more like you can carry a game in it, simply because it does so much alpha damage. And again, at that point in the game, if you're the only one left, generally the tanks that are going to be left on the enemy team are going to be damaged. 490 average, you know, average damage on your 128, 750 on the bigger gun, the 155 is it? Or 152? Anyway, the bigger gun, you know, 750 on that. At that point, there's a good chance you're going to be able to probably one-shot anything you do spot, and then try and get into cover or hide or whatever. Whereas with this, you're not going to get that luxury. At that point, 240 most of the time is not going to be enough to one-shot people, even towards the end of the game. Maybe a few of them. You know, don't get me wrong, I'm not saying that's not going to happen. And, you know, people are going to write in the comments, I've done that before. And, you know, it does happen, but as a general rule, it's not going to be in that situation. Whereas with nearly 500 damage, you know, there's a good chance that you're going to be able to one-shot a lot of the guys that are left in that situation. But again, all theoretical, you know, just gabbing away. Now, Ensk is not the best map for a tank like this. It's a very small map, as you can see. You know, I'm more or less at the back of one side of it, and my detectability circle almost fills the entire map. So yeah, really not the best map for a tank like this. I was about to get out there, but then the M6 came to give me a hand. He did take it from the T29, but I managed to finish him off. But there's still that Black Prince up there. Most of the enemy team have gone into the town, but at the moment it is still even. And I was going to say it could go either way, but I've already spoilt it for you, haven't I? Because I said both of them are losses. There you go. Spoiler alert. But yeah, nothing really come down the field. There's the T29 on the enemy team, the Black Prince. So me and the M6 are going to push up on this Black Prince. At this point, I don't know, I was kind of a little bit fed up. Because I was just like, really? I'd had some bad matchmaking in this tank at this point. Just a combination of bad matchmaking and just bad maps for the tank. And I think that's my thing with a lot of maps. I see people putting on about, you know, I really don't like this map, I don't like that map, and, you know, asking people, you know, what maps people don't like. And my answer to that is generally, it really depends on the tank that I'm in. It really does. I don't think there's any particular map still in the game that I can say that I just dislike, that I don't like being on it no matter what tank I'm in. And for me, the like or dislike of a map is almost entirely dependent on the tank that I am in, because as you know, most of you will probably agree, certain tanks just don't suit certain maps in this game, and you have to work really, really hard in that tank on that map to do well in it. Whereas you know, there's other maps and tanks that just seem to suit each other, and you know, you can really work them, and it doesn't seem that much of an effort. And you know, you can just find somewhere. There's just somewhere for that tank to sit or go. It's really useful and effective, and that's the way I see a lot of this. So it is very dependent on the map they're in. But anyway, I've digressed massively. While brawling with brawling in a glass TD with a Black Prince, probably not my smartest move. But I had lost a bit of patience and got quite frustrated at that point, so it was kind of like, do you know what, screw it, just go for it, balls out all the way. And the reason I came into cab, because we were, you know, looking very, very bad. It was either to A, try and win, which I wasn't holding out much hope for, or B, maybe distract the enemy team long enough for our guys to do something, but unfortunately too late for that as well, so it was another defeat, I'm afraid. But at least I broke 2,000 in that one, so there you go. And to be honest, I don't think I did much more than that in any game, maybe 2.5 in one game, but they were pretty much average games for me in that tank. And yeah, just to round up again, just an average TD, which doesn't necessarily mean bad, but I just think it just needs a little tweak to take it away from that. But there you go. Anyway, hope you've enjoyed that. I hope you found it informative at least. I will endeavour to be back tomorrow with another World of Tanks video for you. So until then, take care out there, and I'll catch you next time. See you later.